I got you.
All right, creatures of the night, welcome to Talking Taker, episode 191 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. My name is Alex Dorio, and I want to thank you for joining us for this very special, yet another round of Dead Man Talking. And I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my fellow creature of the night. He is the caster of pain, if you will. Podcaster, get it? Podcaster of pain, anybody? All right. Mr. Travis White. And Travis, I call you that because boy, oh boy, do we have a doozy of an episode for you tonight. You see, folks, we've celebrated 4 years of digging up the dead man recently. We just hit our 4-year anniversary. We've done every single pay-per-view match of The Undertaker's career. We've even dug into his hidden gems and things like that. So what could there possibly be left to explore in his career? Well, folks, we dug deep into the archives for a truly unearthed hidden gem footage that's so rare it's not even on the WWE network, but we are going to tell you guys where to find it because you need to see it. It's not on the Peacock. It's nowhere to be found. We're talking tonight about Mark Calloway before he was The Undertaker, when he was the Master of Pain. Travis, I mean, how would you describe this stuff we're about to watch?
Gold? Just, I mean, buried treasure. This is what this is right here. Now, okay, we're in 2021. This stuff, none of this would fly in nowadays. So you gotta, if you're gonna go back and watch this with us, or after we talk to you about it, you've got to go back to 1989, 1990. You've got to get yourself back there. Because there's some things that are going to be said and done that probably shouldn't have been said and done back then, but it was a different time and a different era. So if you can just separate that, but this is just, it is comedy gold. It is great storytelling, and I use that as a air quotes and as a non-air quotes. Great stuff. And it's fun to see him before he was, even Mean Mark Callis. It's fun to see.
And let's be clear, you have to go back to 1988 or 89 in Memphis, Tennessee. That's the mindset you got to put yourself in. So give these guys a little bit of grace, if you will, or don't. But just understand where they were coming from and look at it with those eyes and that mindset, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have.
And it's entertainment too. It's
absolutely.
Not, yeah, it's not it's entertainment. That's what it's supposed to be. And the stuff that, just like Cornette, man, what he would say and do, and Freebirds used to come down in a Confederate, you can't do that nowadays, but it got a heel heat out of the guys there. And, stuff was all different back then. So you got to just remember it's entertainment, and the point of wrestling is to get a reaction out of the crowd, be it good or bad. So just remember that.
There are a couple moments like that, but for the most part, this is an hour of just straight out hilarious fun, clean, old school Memphis wrestling fun stuff here.
Stuff Vince hates.
Stuff Vince. There's a reason why this isn't on the Peacock. There's a reason why he doesn't own this, and he just threw this in the garbage. But let's tell people about exactly what this is, man. We are talking, like we said, the Master of Pain. This is who the Undertaker, Mark Calloway was, the MOP, the MOP, in Memphis, in the Continental Wrestling Association. So this is from all early 1989 footage that we're going to be watching here, before Mark Calloway jumped over to WCW, became Mean Mark Callis, before he became The Undertaker in November of 1990. Before he was the Eggman here. It's not the earliest footage of him, because, of course, he did start out in Texas. He was Texas Red, Big Red, Punisher Dice Morgan, I believe. Wasn't that his other name?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Andrew Dice Morgan. Yeah, something like that.
But this is on a app that you can find So I found it on my Amazon Fire TV box. Travis, is that what you watched it on?
It's also on iOS, so Apple stuff.
Okay.
So I got it on my my iPad, and I watched it on that. But yeah, I did initially download it on Amazon because that's where you told me about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's actually on Apple as well.
Okay, so
You're welcome, people.
There's an app, should be on most, streaming boxes or devices that you would use, called Wrestling TV. It's as simple as that. Wrestling TV. Just search for that, download it. And we found a special on there that is an hour-long special of footage of The Undertaker as Master of Pain in Memphis. And also it's about 45 minutes of that, and then about 15 minutes of another guy that we've talked about on the show, a former opponent of The Undertaker, Lord Humongous, who would go on to become Psycho Sid Vicious. So it's sort of like a greatest hits of these two guys in Memphis. We're going to break down all that footage there. We're going to tell you.
It actually makes sense. Yeah,
It does. They do a tie over. They have a little feud and pass over and cross over with each other there. So much great hidden footage, so much non-PC footage, so much cool stuff though, where you're seeing little things that Mark Calloway would incorporate throughout his entire career. You see him hit this move or that move that he would do. You see him do these things where he's gaining this presence that would go on to become The Undertaker. So we thought, hey man, this would be really cool to talk about, especially in this new era of these monthly bonus shows that we're doing here. So we're going to get to all that. But of course, since we are only back once a month now, we want to touch on any recent Undertaker news, any sightings, any conversation about The Undertaker that's been going on. We feel like that's our job and our duty to do here on the show. And there has been a few things going on in the month of August. Of course, one thing that seems to come up every single month here on these episodes, Travis, is the Broken Skull sessions on the Peacock Network. We joke about it, but it's true, man. Every single episode of these Broken Skull sessions, The Undertaker comes up in the conversation. That's how much of a presence he has in the WWE, in the world of professional wrestling. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, there's been a couple episodes since we last left off, and what kind of, how The Undertaker came up in those conversations.
Yeah, I think there have been, 17 or 19 episodes, and all but the Bailey and the Sasha one, he's come up on every single one. And I mean, there's no need for them to bring him up, and they don't interact with him really, so. But anyway, so after we recorded the one for August, we the Kevin Nash episode was on there, and then more recently the Bobby Lashley episode. So both of those, of course, Taker comes up. Nash talks about his match with him, and also just talks about how. So it's in between his match with Taker, and then it's before his match with Taker at Mania. Is Taker's match with Brett at Royal Rumble, right? And then in between, they're supposed to have Diesel's in there with Brett and stuff, and Brett basically refused to lose to him. So Nash is like, forget it, I'm done. I'm glad that was to him in this iteration of the story. That was Nash's reasoning for forget it. I'm going to go WCW with Scott, and I'll go do business with the big man with Taker at WrestleMania. And they watch part of that match back and. I remember you and I really, really dug that match, talking about it. But he says that, didn't he talk about trying to get Taker to come over to WCW?
He does talk about that a little bit, and he talks about how Undertaker was served his divorce papers on the day of that match at WrestleMania 12, which is a story we've heard come up before, but it's just insane to think about. Kevin Nash says that he asked Undertaker what he wanted to do that night. Undertaker's like, bro, you're calling the match tonight. I just got served my divorce papers. I'm not even thinking about it right now. And just amazing the professionalism that they went out and put on the match that they did, knowing that he's got that going on in his life that day.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Again, he's always a business first guy, man. And it's like he said in the last ride, sometimes to his detriment. Maybe he shouldn't have put the business first sometimes, but he always has. And it's crazy, and something Undertaker related, but I'll never not laugh at the story of Nash getting his release and then in CNN Towers faxing it to Titan Towers
Yep.
from CNN's coverage. That is one of my favorite stories of wrestling lore ever. I love it. So anyway, that's fantastic. And then
Kevin Nash is a top 5 professional wrestling storyteller. Like, you put him up against him, I could listen to that guy talk. I don't care how many times I've heard the stories.
Nope.
It's great to hear him, and he's got his glass of wine and a bottle of red wine he goes through on there. The other Taker thing, I remember him from this episode. Another story we've heard before, but Nash is talking about how he's wrestling Bob Backlund, and Backlund tells Nash to do a sunset flip. And so Nash is like, all right, he's the veteran. He's calling the match. So I jump up and do the sunset flip. And then I get to the back, and Undertaker chokes me and puts me up against the wall and says, if you ever do a sunset flip again, I'm going to drive you out of this business. Something like that, which is so funny. But it's a great lesson. Like the business was different back then. Nowadays, so what? Big guys do that stuff all the time. Maybe they shouldn't do it quite as much as they do, but it's a different time. And you just didn't do that as a big man in 1993 or 94.
No, not at all. You were still protecting that aura of the big man.
Right.
Yeah. But, and then again, the Bobby Lashley episode, and I'll be the first to admit, and we've admitted on here, not really big fans of Bobby Lashley, especially not back in the day. I tell you what,
back in
though,
the day.
His 2019, 2020, 2021, I'm all in. I'm
Absolutely.
a fan of him as champion. Hurt Business was one of my favorite things on Raw. Loved it. Anyway, he's doing a great job. But so to see him be interviewed by Austin, he's just a quiet guy. But they talk a little bit about his history in the military and all this. But literally the first wrestler that they even talk about, and it just comes up naturally because Austin is asking Bobby about, you were a shoot fighter, you were a wrestler. So when you got in the ring, did you kind of like crouch over and hunch over and kind of want to shoot fight like a Kurt Angle would have? And he said, yeah, I did. He said, and Austin's like, well, I didn't really see that in your game back then. And he's like, you know why? Taker. He said, I did that in some dark matches and tryouts and stuff. And he said, and backstage, Taker pulled me aside. He said, no. He said, don't do that. He said, you're big. You're a big guy. You want them to see that you're a big guy. You don't need to come down to the other guys' levels and hunch over. He said, you stand up tall, and you don't lean over. He said, and ever since then, that's what I've always done. He said, so Taker from the get-go helped set me apart as a big guy to show how big I was. Forget all the wrestling accolades. I'm going to be a big pro wrestler now. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, it came up naturally. It wasn't, Austin didn't force it. He didn't bring up Taker. Bobby did. So it was pretty cool.
I mean, it's just cool that Taker would give that advice to this rookie.
To a greenhorn.
Taker's been in the business for 20 years at that point. Like, he doesn't have to. He just sit in his locker room and, chew his tobacco and drink his beer and do whatever until his match comes out. But he cares. We saw that in the last ride when he's going down to NXT in 2019 and visiting those guys and giving those guys advice. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Bobby Lashley, you're right, man. He's to me, he reminds me of Mark Henry. Like, Mark Henry was a guy who'd been around forever and just never really impressed you. He was just always just kind of there, not good, not bad, just kind of there. And then all of a sudden, all these years into the business, he hits that Hall of Pain gimmick, and it's just like, oh, he's the coolest guy, hottest guy in the business. The same with Lashley now. Like, Lashley was just like, couldn't care less about the guy, and then all of a sudden, Hurt Business, MVP, world champ, hottest guy in the business.
Yeah. Love it. Good stuff.
And Undertaker, he's had some good stuff going on recently. You might have seen him posting on social media. He's flexing, taking selfies, riding around in his truck. And then also he's at the University of Texas. I know that stings a little bit, Travis. I know the Georgia Bulldogs and University of Texas have a little history with each other.
We'll have more history going forward because they'll be in the SEC. So bring it on.
There you go.
Let's go.
Could see Undertaker at a Georgia game sometime
Could see him
soon.
in Athens.
Could see him in
That'd be
Athens. All right.
Start 2024, 25, whenever they join. So, yeah, there we go.
He got gifted a helmet from the Longhorns. We know he's a big Texas
Awesome.
Longhorns fan. We saw him on College Game Day. I think it was 2 years ago, representing the Longhorns. So very cool to see that and see him out and about. He's still looking good, man. You never know. You never know. We're seeing Sting wrestle on a regular basis in 2021 in his 60s. We never know what we could see with Undertaker.
Yeah, well, with all the steam that's Sting and the steam that AEW is carrying right now, it may be one of those things like Taker said. This is my last ride, but you never know with Vince. Is in case of emergency, break glass. So
I've seen a lot of memes on social media of late with CM Punk coming back and people being like, Vince calling up Undertaker right now, feeling the
Taker.
Sting from AEW.
Yeah, calling up Taker, calling up Sean Hunter out of NXT,
just printing money out.
Yeah. But
who knows? That's why we're keeping the podcast alive, because you just never know.
Right.
And we are keeping it alive tonight, man. This is gonna be a live one. Travis, this is, like I said, this is an hour-long special that we're talking about. I could talk about this for conservatively 7.5 hours here tonight.
We could go Peter Jackson Hobbit into like a trilogy on this.
So much to say.
Peter Jackson took a 120-page book and made 9-hour movies out of it. We could do the same here. Yeah. This is so good, man. Well, first of all, before we start, I can't thank you enough for stumbling upon this just on accident. And leading me to it. And guys, at the end of this, you're going to be welcome as well. Those of you creatures of the night.
Yeah. So, Peacock, when it launched, it was not available on the Amazon streaming devices, which is what I have in my house. And so I didn't have Peacock till a couple months ago when they finally fixed that. I could hook up my computer to the TV and all that stuff, but I'm lazy. And so I did it for WrestleMania, but I didn't really do it much past then. So I was just trying to get my wrestling fix. I'd watch stuff on YouTube, but one day I just typed in wrestling on Amazon to see what they had on there. And this app, Wrestling TV, comes up. I download it. I highly recommend it to you folks out there. Even after you watch this special, there's just a ton of 60s, 70s, 80s content on there from Memphis. I think there's some stuff from Texas and those handful of territories that aren't owned by WWE. There are still a few of those out there that they don't own the footage to, and that's what makes up this stuff. Pretty sure this was all stuff that was released on DVD and VHS probably in the early to mid 2000s. I think all this stuff came out at that point, and they just transferred it over to this streaming app. Yeah,
and it looks like it was made on a Netscape Navigator in 1998. You're going with that kind of graphics and stuff. Like when we were in middle school in tech lab, it's something our teacher would have made us make. So
I watched it the first time a month or two ago, and I watched it again today. I think the quality got worse. I think it's like a VHS that the more you watch it,
the more you watch.
Somehow this streaming app is literal VHS. it's more
analog.
damage to it.
It's an analog app.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, well, can we just tell them what the title? Or how do you find this?
Just go, like I said, Wrestling TV app. Any streaming device box that you have, you're gonna go on there. It looks like a 5-year-old designed the interface for it, or a middle schooler in tech lab, like you said in 1998. This GeoCities interface on this app. So you text me, you're like, I don't know how to find this thing, but the easiest thing to do. You'll see a menu on the left sidebar, and you're going to go under free content. Yeah, hopefully. Look under the free content on there and just type in the word dead. That's all you have to do. Type in the word dead into the search bar, and this special should be the only thing that pops up on there. Because it's called, Travis, what's the name of this thing?
Lowercase b, 4, B4, the number 4. B4, they were, ... Vol 4, main event, Monsters, Psychos, and Dead Men, Sid Udy and Mark Calloway. No punctuation, no commas, and horrifyingly misspelled.
Yeah, I'm
ladies
sorry.
And gentlemen, you heard me right. It is Monsters.
Did you just say Monster? Do you mean Monstars?
No.
Space Jam?
They're not trying to capitalize on Space Jam 2. This is Space Jam 3. Monsters, yeah. Before they were, Volume 4, main event Monsters, Psychos and Dead Men, Sid Udy and Mark Calloway. again, it's Psychos and Dead Men, even though, like you said, 78 to 90% is the Dead Man. Psychos at the very end. But yeah, main event Monsters. And like you texted me and you said, I knew it was going to be good when I saw that. Just when you see it's called Monsters.
It's not just on the app. When you play the special on there,
Yes.
the title comes on the main screen.
Yeah.
It says, Main Event Monsters. No one in production, not one person, knew that was a spelling error. At no point in the line.
Somebody was like, all right, sounds good.
Run with it.
This was Memphis.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's if you're a fan of The Office, it sounds like a newspaper article like Michael Scott. He does the giant newspaper articles. But yeah, it's B4, They Were, Vol 4, Main Event, Monsters, Psychos and Dead Men, Sid Judy and Mark Calloway. It's so much. It's so much.
Excuse me.
Exactly. Coughing.
And folks, I will give you a trigger warning here as well. That this is a free app, so there are ads on it. And I don't know what you got, man, but the ads that I got were genuinely disturbing. Like, there's for some horror movie channel streaming app, and like they look like literal torture videos, like not even
like
filmed.
Faces of Death stuff.
Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
I was like 11 o'clock at night, like lights out, I was watching this, I legitimately almost peed my pants.
A little scared.
It was awful.
Yeah, I got those too. It was luckily I just muted them and looked away until it came back on. But yeah, it was terrifying.
So we do apologize for that.
Yeah. Oh man.
And this is,
I tell you what, man, this thing just gets going.
Yeah. This is all footage from early 1989 from the CWA, Continental Wrestling Association, which evolved into the USWA, is all this Memphis territory stuff here.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, which actually does talk about a few of the things that we say on here. Yeah, there's your Michael Scott reference right there. Wikipedia. You know it's right. Anyone can edit it.
Post anything.
Best possible information. So we kick off on February 2nd, 1989, is going to be the first thing that we see here, which is going to be the Master of Pain debuting here in Memphis. And all this footage that we're going to see here, and again, we encourage you to just stop what you're doing, go watch this, take an hour out of your day. You will not regret it. It will be the best thing you've ever done if you go watch this first. But we'll try to sell you on it if you're not going to go do it yet. But all this takes place
over Labor Day weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, for your Labor Day, take the day off and just watch this multiple times.
Bring your family around.
Yeah, grill some wieners,
celebrate
some dogs, yeah, some burgers. Pour the chips and the baked beans on, and turn this on the TV, and then watch your college football with
Yeah, and see the looks on your family's faces when they watch some of this stuff.
Especially when the commercials come on.
So the vast majority of this is going to take place, if you remember anything about 80s wrestling, it's going to take place in like a TV studio with like 30 or 40 fans in the stands around the ring, and an announce table interview area right next to the ring. There'll be a couple times where we actually see some footage for some actual arena shows, but for the vast majority of it, we're in this tiny little studio where Mark Calloway gets called into the booth to make his debut, the Master of Pain. How would you describe what he's wearing, Travis?
I think you put it the best. You said he's wearing a Harlem Heat outfit.
It looks like he's the third member of Harlem Heat.
Booker and Stevie and Master of Pain.
He's got
the House of Pain.
But yeah, there it is. Black spandex tank top and this red and yellow like fire
McDonald's
pants. It's Ronald McDonald pants, man. And maybe that's why he is so nervous when he comes out here on this day. He's like almost shaking when he tries to get through this promo as he tries to introduce himself.
So this is what, 80, was it 89?
February 1989.
Whew, so that's what, 32 years ago?
Yep.
So he would have been what, early 20s?
Early 20s.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, he comes out for an interview and he says that he's been in the Atlanta State Penitentiary for the last 5 years. But he's not ashamed, and he went there on a bad rap because 2 chum punks jumped him in the parking lot, and now they're pushing up Daisy. So
pushing up daisies. This is like the Undertaker, man.
Exactly, a little foreshadowing for the Undertaker, the man he would become, and he calls out, "I'm calling out Jerry Lawler, Jerry Lawler. Well, names are important where I'm from." He forgets the king's name.
But he didn't. He said his name.
Exactly. But then he says that Ricky Morton sent him to do a job, and Lawler will be lucky to get out of here alive.
And the announcer, who is Dave Brown, legendary Memphis announcer, he, as Master of Pain walks off, he responds appropriately to that promo with just a big, He doesn't know what quite to make of that either.
Yeah. And you made a good point. You know, he says he went to the penitentiary on a bad rap.
Yes.
But he also says he murdered 2 guys.
Yes, they're pushing up daisies.
Which was it? Was it a bad rap, or was he did he murder
Legitimately
2 people?
kill 2 guys.
And if so, how did he only get 5 years in Atlanta?
Double homicide.
5 years for good behavior.
I guess. Well, Ricky Morton got him out.
Yeah. This is already golden, man.
I know. So we have Ricky Morton to thank for the career of the Master of Pain. He got him here to watch his back.
Rest in peace. Bobby Eaton has passed away since we recorded last. So
I'm surprised he's not on this video.
Me too. But yeah, beautiful Bobby.
Absolute
Rest in
legend.
peace. But we'll get back to the hilarity now. But yeah, Ricky Morton, calling a hit on Jerry Lawler.
He also said, like, I wasn't sure when I watched it. Master of Pain, Taker, he says he got a bad rap because 2 guys.
Chum punks. Yeah.
I thought he was about to say children. I thought he was about to tell us he killed 2 children. And then hesitated.
2 children.
That's extreme.
I heard chum punks.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's where CM Punk got his name from. Chum
Punk.
Chum Punk. Foreshadowing to a future opponent.
Could be. Well, this guy that Master Pain faces is a chump punk, by all means.
Jerry Lawler?
No, Rodney
Dang
Napper.
it.
Rodney Napper is going to be the guy. Oh, man, these jobbers are legendary.
You're just asking for people to go to sleep during the match. What's this guy's name? Napper? Okay. Guess I'll go get some popcorn then. Like, you're not going to want to stay and watch him.
He's not even the worst guy that we're going to see. Not even close.
Guys, this is just very
Puts him to sleep.
Good stuff.
Rodney Napper.
I hope his finishing move was a sleeper. If not, what a missed
opportunity. Huge.
He probably didn't have a finisher. He didn't even get that far in the match.
No, poor Rodney Napper. I mean, he gets murdered here. This is not a fair fight. Even from early days, Master Pain is green as grass here, but he's still dominant. He hits his big power slam. He delivers a forearm, turnbuckle shot, body slam, big leg drop. I mean, this is your typical 80s wrestling squash match here, especially for this big rookie guy. He can't do much, but what he can do, he brings a lot of intensity and athleticism to it, and he does a pretty cool move to finish off Rodney Napper here. That's going to be a great tie-in to The Undertaker.
Yeah, it's eventually going to become some vintage Undertaker. It's that run and diving clothesline, that he would, do. We saw countless times in our 191 episodes here. But neat. That was his finishing move here. He hits that and then pins old Rod Napper at 1 minute and 8 seconds, so 1:08. So, like you said, really, honestly, as green as he was, good heel match. Like good heel going over, put your heel over, make a statement, in and out.
Yeah, that promo was nothing to write home about, but you can tell by his look and by his size, there's definitely money to be made with this guy, and you can see why, Vince McMahon eventually is gonna see all the potential in this guy here. So
yeah.
We quickly move on to the next segment on this. It's gonna be a lot of quick cuts to different matches and segments on here.
it's not like a WWE produced thing where you go to like a talking head, like DDP introduces the next scene, or even one of those new guys from like The Bump nowadays. Like, you don't even get that. You get just scene after scene after scene, and that's it. So yeah, we're going on to Master Payne now is with Dutch Mantel.
Dirty Dutch.
Dirty Dutch.
Wait. Don't you have a good Dutch Mantel story?
Oh, the match I saw him in?
Yeah, I don't know if we ever talked about that.
Did we talk about that on here?
I don't know if we did.
If not, it was no time like the present. So let's go. So I took my wife to a wrestling show in Nashville Fairgrounds, 2012. Me and her, my buddy Gene and his wife, we went to Nashville Fairgrounds and saw the local wrestling. And the main event was Dirty Dutch versus Boogie Woogie Boy Jimmy Valiant
in 2012.
In 2012, in a steel cage match. And this was the main event, and it took about, 28 to 30 minutes to get the cage set up. And this cage, we wound up calling it the Poison Ivy Death Match because it just had like vines, poison ivy all over it.
What kind of cage was it?
It's like they just got 4 pieces of like chain link from outside. They just found it on the fairgrounds and then just zip tied it together on the corners. But like I said, it took like 30 minutes between the match and the next one. Like it wasn't the main event. It was the semi-main because the main event was the Quiche and Road Dogg and Billy Gunn versus some other people. Wow. But anyway, so they do it takes 35 minutes to get this cage set up. And then Dutch and Boogie Woogie Man, it literally a 4-minute match. And then
neither one of them can take a bump.
It's over. And the Poison Ivy Death Match.
70s.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And they had to tear it all back down, and then the main event comes out. Yeah. Oh, man. My favorite Dutch Mantel match is that one. So good. So, yeah. Years before that.
He's here with Master of Pain.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Taking on David Johnson, who just sounds like, a jobber.
Nothing else you can say about it here. Dutch Mantel is now managing Master of Pain. He beats David Johnson here in about 60 seconds, gives him a big press slam, chokes him out. You can tell he's just getting a monster push already here. Mm-hmm. He's got the big manager with him. Hits the big body slam and a big leg drop. Again, another move that we would see Undertaker do quite a bit, doing that leg drop. And according to Wikipedia, this was just the very next week on Memphis CWA television here. And just the very next week after his debut, Master of Pain and Dutch Mantel are going to call out the King of Memphis right here after this match. They're going to call out Jerry the King Lawler, who is obviously the champion here. And they want him to come out and face the Master of Pain. Master of Pain is just screaming out, Lawler, Lawler, Lawler. He's acting like a crazy man. He's sticking his tongue out, doing some very Undertaker-like things here. The announcers are like, whoa. Jerry Lawler's already got a match scheduled tonight. He's supposed to face Keith Arrington. And I love Dutch Mantel. He just goes, who the heck is that? He ain't ever beat nobody. He needs to face the Master of Pain.
Oh, that's so good. So good. And, man, I tell you what, man, as good as Dutch is, he wasn't that great at this point. Because when they're calling out Lawler, he says, and I wrote it down here, he says, if he's the big champion, the unification, title holder, we're not leaving this ring. Here.
These weren't scripted, folks.
No. Yeah, but Lawler takes the bait. He comes out and he puts the belt down and gets into the ring, and the bell rings. So it's going to be future Taker versus the King, man.
Yeah, dude.
Right here.
It's second week on TV. He's already getting this mega push here in Memphis. And, he looks like a monster. Like a monster, if you will, here. He just dominates Lawler immediately. He no-sells all of Lawler's offense and gives him everything he's got, picks him up over his head, press slams him, leg drops him, knocks him down. While on commentary, Dutch Mantel's talking about all the time Master of Pain spent in solitary confinement in the Atlanta penitentiary, and what sort of man that made him.
And man, so we've both gone on record saying that Jerry Lawler probably has the greatest punches in the history of wrestling. and Master Payne is just shaking them off like they're nothing. And like you said, it really is putting a lot of heat on this guy and really making him seem like a monster. He really does seem like that. Because I mean, this is the guy. This would be like you bring in. They've tried this. You bring in a Tensai, you put him in with John Cena, with the guy. Doesn't always work, we knew who Tensai was, but what I'm saying, like you bring in a
Right.
Kali and put him in there, it doesn't always work. This was working though for some little local, territory stuff. This was working. They're doing a good job, and Jerry Lawler knows how to make sure that heel gets over. He does a great job selling and acting surprised when his punches aren't working on
Dude.
stuff. It's great. Lawler goes to lift him and he can't, but then the Master Payne body slams Lawler 3 times in a row. And back then, a body slam was a devastating move.
It's textbook stuff, and I know we can overcomplicate wrestling. I know it's not 1989 anymore. I know it's 30 years later, but I still believe in my heart of hearts, sometimes simple storytelling is the best that there is. Sometimes you don't have to, overthink things and think 3 steps ahead of the fan. Sometimes you just do this simple stuff, and it would still work nowadays. And this is a great example of it here. Again, Dutch Mantel is just hyping up Master Payne on commentary, but he gets a little continuity error here, in my opinion, because Dutch says he recruited Master Payne straight out of prison, even though Master Payne said Ricky Morton recruited him out of prison here. So I don't know who's telling the truth about who was strolling down the prison, but that does sound like something Dutch Mantel would do. Just like walk through the halls of the penitentiary like, I like that guy.
I'll take that one. Yeah. Like it's some kind of dog pound. Yeah, he says Master Payne's going to beat Lawler for the title and then give it to me or Ricky Morton, he says. So I guess they're both, they've, co-signed on breaking this guy out of prison. I don't know. I mean, not sure what the deal is, but yeah, that's going to kind of come into play actually later on.
Yep.
So, but then Dutch does something weird. He gets in the ring to like stop Master Payne from beating up Lawler, and the announcer calls it a disqualification. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure what happened. Did Dutch become a referee and tell him to wave off the match? I don't know, but I'm not sure exactly what happened. But then it's kind of confusing. But Dutch starts flapping his gums about Lawler's been beaten by the Master of Pain. And again, Lawler's just selling really well here. And I just wrote in my notes, like, it's just kind of his goofy look, and this goofy 80s stuff. But, like, this is how you get a new guy over. It's really, really well done. And you don't have to have an actual winner and a loser. No one took a pinfall here.
Yep, the announcers point out that Master Payne didn't beat Lawler, didn't pin him, but he did leave him lying. And you're right, man. That's building heat. That's building toward the future. That's building toward the big match that these two are going to have, which is what we're going to see next. We get to really, I mean, in my opinion, this next segment right here is the main event of this video. There's still some great stuff afterward, but this was the highlight for me here. We get to talk about my favorite character from this whole video cassette, this whole special, man by the name of Ronnie P. Gossett, which I was not familiar with him. If you're not familiar with him, good Lord, man, this guy should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I was going to mention earlier that, like, I consider myself, and I think you do too, a pretty heavy, pretty good wrestling historian. There's definitely gaps in my game. I'm not flaunting or anything. I'm just saying, like, pretty big wrestling historian, but this guy has flown under the radar for me. I've never heard of him, and I'm mad at myself for the years I've wasted not knowing him. It's like if all of a sudden you just became like a fan of, I don't know, a huge band, like, and you've missed all their hits,
Yes.
But this guy is just gold, man. And, like, again, it's 80s gold, so be okay with it.
Right.
But it is just, where has he been our whole life, dude?
He is a rotund, egg-shaped gentleman. Yes, he's a major heel in this territory. He's kind of surrounded with this rogues gallery of Memphis with Dutch Mantel, Colonel Robert Parker, who was what's his name, stud there.
Goodness, I got it down here later. Shoot, I'll find it.
Yeah, he's the
stud.
future Colonel Robert Parker from WCW fame. And then Master of Pain, they're all together here, and Master of Pain has changed up his look and is now sort of look like he's in a motorcycle gang. He's sort of got the biker taker look going on here. All denim vest with no shirt and blue jeans and leather cap and everything. Trying to look like a real tough guy here, like a guy who's broken out of the penitentiary. And
he's like taking steps backward in this.
Right.
Like you think he'd come in like that and then get the tights, but no, He came in tights and then goes backwards.
He's still learning, man.
Yeah.
We joined this angle, this segment, sort of right in the middle of it. Apparently, Gossett and Lawler, they've been feuding forever, and Gossett's been kicked off the announce team or something like that, best I can tell. And the story is he either has to become a wrestler, which he is certainly in no shape to do, or he's going to get kicked out of the territory because he's no longer on an announcer contract. So Gossett challenges Lawler to a match, and he's the classic cowardly heel, but he slaps Lawler in the face, and then acts like, oh yeah, I can handle this. I can handle Jerry Lawler. And so, like, his whole faction starts to walk away, and then Gossett's on the mic. He's like, now, wait a second. Y'all don't have to leave, you know? Some of y'all can hang out. You don't all have to leave right now, which just killed me, man. I don't know why that was so funny to me.
It's so good.
His delivery was just perfect.
Yeah, it's so funny, man, this whole thing. And he talks about, Lawler's been going overseas, taking on some people in Japan.
Oh, we'll play the clip for you guys. We're not going to say it, but folks, Gossett lets loose a little slur that just made my jaw drop to the floor.
Yeah. So, but again, it was somehow 80s. It was okay back then, and nobody asked questions. So, but
not okay. Not a good thing to say.
No. So, yeah, like you said, Fatso, Ronnie P. Gossett, all I can think of is Roscoe P. Coltrane.
That's basically what he is, man.
Gossett, yeah. I hope he said his name like that. But, he says Lawler's going to take on Dutch or Master of Pain first. So, they wind up figuring out who's going to be, and Master of Pain's going to take on this challenge against Jerry Lawler. So, but then Gossett wants a contract, and they kind of go back and forth, and Lawler agrees that, win, lose, or draw, Lawler's going to get a match with Ronnie P. Gossett after this match with the Master of Pain. So I'm going to go to commercial break and come back. So, which is kind of funny. It's like, so it doesn't matter what happens.
Right.
I'm going to get a match with. So honestly, if I were Lawler, I would have just gone in and laid down, gotten pinned.
But he doesn't want to lose the title.
Oh, exactly. That's right.
He's putting the title on the line too.
We'll get DQ'd and then just beat him up. So.
There you go.
But
anyway, that should have been strategy. But this is all just classic Memphis stuff. They're stalling. They're adding all these stipulations and adding on to it here. But it's so entertaining. Like, none of these guys are on a script. They all know the end point that they have to get to here, but they're just improvising. They're just hitting jabs on each other and cutting each other down and letting loose. And the crowd's popping for every one-liner and every put-down that Jerry Lawler does here. And they're just overselling everything. Dutch Mantell is too. We come back and we see the contracts written up.
In the commercial break? They wrote it up during the commercial break.
Yeah, they wrote it up during the commercial break. It's official now.
It took 2.5 minutes to write a contract for a world title.
That's all it takes in Memphis. And Master Payne, he's about to hop in the ring. He's got his blue jeans on, and Lawler hops out of the ring as soon as the match starts, and he's like, well, wait 1 second here. Last time I faced Master Payne, Dutch Mantell cost him the match. So I demand that Dutch Mantell leaves the studio right now. And Dutch Mantell's like, he puts up a little fight, but he eventually agrees. But Lawler says, like, hang on 1 second. I know you, Dutch. I know you're not going to stay behind the curtains. I don't even want you in the building right now. And that's when Dutch starts to lose his crap. He starts to get upset. And Lawler brings out security to escort Dutch straight out of the building. And Ronnie P. Gossett's throwing a fit.
Oh, yeah, he's having a conniption fit. And he even says, my favorite line, this whole thing, he says, who do you think you are, Marshall Dillon? Which is just amazing. Which is one of my favorite lines from "Should Have Been a Cowboy" by Toby Keith. But again, I'm Marshall Dillon from MASH, so good stuff, man. Great. Who you think you're, Marshall Dillon? So
He's
I just love that, dude.
He's saying that's not a cop. That's an impersonator. He's not even a real cop.
Impostor.
Lawler demands the officer handcuff Dutch Mantel. He's kicking and screaming as he gets dragged out of the building. This is just fantastic stuff.
No, it is. Like I said, it's overselling, but it's awesome.
It doesn't resemble WWE of this day and age in the slightest, but for somebody like me, for somebody like you, and I imagine most of our listeners, this is just so fun and goofy and nostalgic.
Yeah.
We finally start this match between Master of Pain and Jerry the King Lawler here. And it does seem like the King has studied a little bit of tape. You know, he's able to evade a little bit of Master of Pain's offense to start the match off. Meanwhile, Gossett is just on a live mic on the outside of the ring, yelling at the ref and just cracking me up the whole time.
Yeah. Kind of like that Abraham Washington guy used to be on Raw like a decade ago, just walking around with a live mic talking. It's kind of like, he's not allowed to be at the commentary booth, but he still has a live mic.
He's still commentating.
Yeah, he's commentating the entire time. And the commentators are trying to talk too, but he can't hear them on a headset, so he's just talking over them. It's great. Yeah. And he's just talking smack the entire time. And he's got a lot of mean things to say about King. Calls him idiot and all kind of stuff. And again, this says lots of things that you can't say nowadays.
Definitely not.
But back then it was just like, it was funny. And now it's like, ooh, boy.
We've learned. We've matured.
Yeah, but the Master of Pain, he does begin to take it to Lawler with some punches and chokes mostly, and hits a body slam and that leg drop that gets a 2 count for it. So, but then he goes for a running shoulder block, or maybe possibly that diving clothesline again, and accidentally hits the referee, and that's where things break down.
Yeah, things are gonna go down here, and Lawler starts him off, dude. He does what the big move in Memphis, drops the strap right there. So he hits some right hands, and this time the strap's down, so those punches are stunning. Master of Pain. Yeah, they do. And Jerry Lawler's got that great right hand. He hip tosses him. Jerry Lawler actually even goes up and hits a drop kick and nails Master of Pain with it. Hits the fist drop off the second rope. But now Dutch Mantel has somehow moved past the security guard, and he re-enters the ring along with, and I quote, the Japanese team.
Oh, no. The Japanese team is what their name is. They come in. Their names are, I don't know all of their names. I don't know who they are. The Executioner and the Grappler are 2 of their names.
Oh, okay.
I heard you say on commentary.
You caught that. All right.
The Japanese team. It's the Executioner and the Grappler. Executioner, future Taker opponent in WWE.
Look, man, I'll make fun of NXT names to this day, but I'll take that's probably better than just the Japanese team.
Yeah, their name is the Japanese team.
Yes.
At least we had Kai and Tai and the Young Dragons. Like, these guys are just called the Japanese team. At least they didn't shorten it. Ooh.
Yeah, Ronnie Gossett already did that earlier.
Yeah, he did that earlier, as you heard already.
So like 10 other heels run in the ring. Lawler is fighting off all of them. He puts them all down because he's Jerry Lawler in Memphis. But Mantel grabs a billy club from the security guard, the old nefarious billy club, tosses it to Master of Pain. He hits Lawler, knocks him out, and of course, wouldn't you know it, the referee wakes up and counts the pin at that moment. And Master of Pain, Mark Calloway, the future Undertaker, becomes the unified world champion of Memphis just 2 months into his run here in the territory.
Crazy.
Man. That is insane.
It's a Historic moment. That 2009 Sheamus push, man.
He kind of looks like Sheamus.
Kind of does. But then, so he wins the unified world title, and then commentary like, well, that was a no DQ match. Wait, what? When did we get told that? And why was there a ref distraction if it was, But then, to celebrate with the Master of Pain, the Japanese team, they celebrate with all the heels. Master of Pain is as excited. He's showing off his new title in the middle of the ring, and Ronnie P. Gossett gets in the ring. And now, again, remember, win, lose, or draw, he gets a match with Lawler. Well, Lawler lost, and he got put down the billy club, so now old Fatso is going to take the boots to him. And, dude, these are got to be some of the worst kicks. It's like if you asked Kenny Bolin from OVW to get in the ring and show us how to wrestle or something. Like, it is so bad. But my favorite thing is when he's prancing around like he's the Penguin from like the Batman Returns. He's just kind of like, yeah, like prancing around, and it is just so good, man.
Such a glorious heel. Just an absolute coward, chicken bleep heel. His rival's down on the ground, and he's acting like such a tough guy as he struts and dances around. He picks up the title, and all the heels raise up Ronnie P. Gossett's hand like he's the real champ here, and you just hate him. You hate him watching it 20 years later, and you know they hated him back then.
Oh yeah, and they, like I say, just winds up stomping on King, and he's choking King and kind of juking and jiving some more and just selling it real big. Which, kind of later on in the years, we'd see, Paul Bearer do a little bit of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, when he turned heel, yeah.
Yeah, and then Robert Fuller and Dutch Mantell are celebrating with him, and Master Payne gives the title to Ronnie P. Gossett, who then hits Lawler in the head with it, just to kind of put, an exclamation point on this whole thing. And again, Memphis was all about heat. There's a documentary called Memphis Heat. Great documentary about Memphis. You build heat, you build heat, you build heat, and then the babyface blows the comeback and wins, the war. But the heels always won the battles, and that was Memphis Heat. And this is a perfect description. Is it goofy? Yeah, but it is amazing heel heat.
Yep, and it played to their audience. They knew who the audience was, and it worked for them. And the next thing that we see is an advertisement to the audience in Memphis about
before we get there.
Oh, okay,
I want to say that. Okay, so Ronnie P. Gossett had that comment, that R-rated comment from earlier, but then he's okay with the Japanese team coming out and helping win. So I guess they've settled everything over the commercial break.
Yeah, I guess the Japanese team's okay with him too for some reason.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, but I just want to mention. So then we get to. I keep saying my favorite part, but they're all my favorite parts.
It just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, but please tell us. This is.
Oh, I think you need to tell us about
yellow.
Rochi Webb, the CWA announcer, who is giving us some promo about some upcoming shows and all the action that's coming up around Memphis.
Yeah, we're gonna have some shows up in the local high school. We're going to be at Dalton High School. The next week, we're going to be at Lexington High School. And then the week after that, we're going to be at Greenbrier High School. Then we're going to be at
$4.
Evans Complimentary High School. Tickets are $4. Get him at the high school. He says high school. I mean, it's
oh, no, man.
It's just a SKU or SKOO. I don't know.
But
get your tickets at the high school.
I didn't think about it till literally just now, but man, now I wonder why Jerry Lawler was running shows at the high schools every week.
Come on, guys, we're running the high school.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. Jerry's got to pick somebody up.
Yeah. Ronnie P. Gossett and the Master of Pain are going to be at the high school, and they interrupt Rochi Webb over here. And apparently, Master of Pain... He looks like he's wearing your Zubaz pants that I got you for Christmas as he walks into this promo.
Yeah, I wrote House of Pain at this point in my notes. It's because, jump around, dude. He's got Zubaz and a do-rag on. It's just, he's getting more and more just, ridiculous as we go. And these are only weeks apart. They're not, months apart.
No.
They're just
he looks so cool.
Yeah, he's got the Zubaz you bought me, the Taker Zubaz, and he's got the do-rag on his head. And I just love it. And then Ronnie P. Gossett says Lawler is getting you a no DQ match and a one-shot only match against the Master of Pain at Owensboro, Kentucky. Probably in a high school.
Absolutely in a high school. High school gymnasium.
I used to teach high school.
Did you?
Yeah, 3 years taught high school.
Well,
high school, the best 7 years of my life. 4 to graduate and 3 I taught.
The next thing we're going to see here is we don't jump to that match. You'd think that'd be the next logical thing here, but next we cut to an announce table as the announcers and old Ronnie P. Gossett are going to give us the update that Jerry Lawler has regained the unified world title from Master of Pain. and he had to go through a sort of a gauntlet match to get to Master of Pain here and go against some of the toughest competition in Memphis. First, he had to face Samurai, and then Lawler had to defeat Mr. Devastation. Not to be confused with Mrs. Devastation. Yeah. Oh, yes. After that was the legendary P.Y. Chuhai. He had to go through all three of them to get a shot at Master of Pain.
Dude, do you remember on like World Tour and Revenge, they have all like the like bogus names from New Japan? Like
that's what this sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like the generic
Kimchi,
guys you face in an 80s wrestling video game.
P.Y. He's a white dude.
Double Dragon or Final Fight or something. Just like the generic guys you beat up on the street.
Oh, I mean, Samurai, and then Mr. Devastation, and then one of these things is not like that. P.Y.
Who I looked him up, man. He's a real wrestler.
P.Y. stand for pretty young? Or...
Pretty young Chuhai.
You guys, please submit what you think the PY stands for and keep it PG.
PYPG, please. Oh.
You know that was just them sitting backstage, coming up with the most
reading through a Chinese food menu, just picking words off of it. Jesus, it's terrible. It's awful.
Oh man! Oh.
I don't know if Travis can continue.
It's so good. You guys gotta watch it.
It's real, folks. It's real.
Oh, I mute my mic.
We actually do see some footage from this match between Lawler and Master of Pain here, and they look like they're in a tag team together, man. They're both wearing like the Harlem Heat red and yellow gear. They're sponsored by McDonald's or something, like you said. And we join the match in progress. Master of Pain runs into a chair shot from Ronnie P. Gossett inadvertently, and that leads to Lawler getting the pin. And then Gossett, of course, he's going to get in the ring afterward and start working over Lawler, beating him up from behind. But he actually rams Lawler into the turnbuckle and wakes Lawler up. He goes to beat up Gossett, but Master of Pain's going to cut him off.
Oh, man. Wait, sorry. Oh, man. Oh, you got to keep going.
Okay. I was trying to give you
recover.
And then... well, the heels all jump in the ring, including P.Y. Chuhai, who's going to come down with a devastating leg drop to the crotch of Jerry Lawler here.
Yeah, it comes off the top rope with that.
Yeah.
That'll put your P.Y. and your Chuhai.
It did, dude, because they all try to... All the heels gather up on Lawler, and they pull him crotch first into the ring post. And this was questionable here, as the announcers say they are literally trying to kill Jerry Lawler by doing that. Which, I don't know, maybe you're 7 years of high school. Maybe they taught you different about the anatomy, but I don't know how crotching someone on the ring post would kill them.
I guess, well, we all know what Lawler enjoys.
That's where his power comes from.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, this is just, it's crazy. And again, he won the title back, but who gets the heat? The heels do.
That's it.
Going out of this. And then one of my favorite wrestlers that I actually faced in our home wrestling videos, John Paul.
John Paul.
A guy named John Paul comes out and helps Lawler get on the stretcher. And they're just like, oh, here comes John Paul. They're just picking wrestling names. I jokingly said that in the video you and I made.
I know.
But I think in all seriousness, the one thing I do want to mention is that so King does get to 3 count, but Master of Pain kicks out about 3.1, which is really cool and nice touch because he's really not been taken to the limit and like he's not exhausted. He just kind of got one over on him. So I really do like that. It wasn't like a King Kong Bundy kick out at 3.1. At WrestleMania, and then just walk off like Bitter Billy and never want to watch him wrestle again. It was like, it actually made sense here, and I'll do, like, for being as green as he is, that was a pretty cool touch for Taker. or for Master Payne, excuse me.
No, it works for him. It's not like when King Kong Bundy just sat up and walked out of the ring as soon as Undertaker chokeslammed him or whatever.
Yeah.
This made sense for Master Payne to do here.
Yeah.
And once again, I got to put over Ronnie P. Gossett as they head back to the announce table, and the announcers are disgusted at this act by the heels, and Ronnie P. Gossett's just laughing, and he says, "Y'all just call the veterinarian and check on Jerry Lawler's condition." So that sounds like something Jerry Lawler would say on commentary in WWF, man, which is perfect. But up next, we get your man, dude. Your man in a tag team match with Master Payne.
Oh, yeah. So the tag team action from our future tag team specialist. So we got the Master of Pain and P.Y. Chuhai, Phil Hickerson. The Master of Pain, and his name is, they call him P.Y. Chuhai, Phil Hickerson. So
It's just a nickname.
Why if your name is Phil Hickerson? Why did you think if he were a UFC fighter, it'd be like, now in the red corner, Phil, P.Y. Chuhai Hickerson. It's too much of a nickname. It's too much. But they're gonna face Masters and Hart. So I don't know who that is.
It's Master versus Master.
Yeah, Master Payne versus Masters and Hart. So I don't know if it was like Chris Masters and John Hart or something, or what. Their names are just
we don't get
Masters
first
and
names.
Hart.
No, because they get
They
annihilated here,
misspell
man.
Hart. But then on commentary, I think it's commentary, Dutch is telling us that the Stud Stable is taking over the CWA. That's the Master of Pain, P.Y. Chuhai, Robert Fuller, Dutch Mantel, and Ronnie P. Gossett. And I just wrote my notes, take my money now.
Forget the Inner Circle. Forget the Pinnacle. Forget the Hurt Business, man. Give me that Stud Stable.
Forget RK Bro.
Absolutely.
I love him, but yeah. Forget, oh man, take my money with the Stud Stable. I mean, does it get more 80s than that?
It does. Well, it might be this moment because the match ends. I mean, Master Payne dominates. They pin these guys in like 30 seconds with a leg drop, toss them out of the ring, and then commentary, they go back to them. They're talking, and Master Payne just walks back to the commentary and grabs his sunglasses off the table and walks out. He's not leaving that arena without his shades.
No, not leaving without
Like
his
a
shades.
boss.
Yeah. And, dude, he's wearing like he's got like some polka dot wristbands on or something. It's just getting more
bizarre.
outrageous. Yeah, I don't get it. But it's great, man. Like you said, and Gossett, you know, he starts talking about how Master Payne and P.Y. Chuhai are going to be future CWA tag team champions. So I could only wish. So,
Can only imagine.
yeah. Then we're going to cut to another tag team match, Playa.
Yeah, this was pretty cool, dude. We got Master Payne teaming up with his manager, Dutch Mantel now. They're going to be facing Jerry Lawler and a very, very young Bam Bam Bigelow here, which is really neat to see. We don't see too much of it, though, unfortunately, but it's cool to get a little glimpse of him here in Memphis. Again, this is joined in progress. We see some miscommunication between Mantel and Master of Pain as Dutch jumps off the top rope and accidentally hits Master of Pain, and Bam Bam going to get the quick pin here. And then this is all about the big breakup between Ronnie P. Gossett and Dutch Mantel. I'm not sure what the timeline is on all this. I don't know if it's out of order or what sort of order we're in here. And I cannot understand a word that is happening in this entire segment because the audio is so bad.
Yeah, Dutch gets on the mic, and it's just, I mean, there's nothing. And then, yeah, it sounds like a bad drive-through. So, yeah, it's terrible. But basically, you can watch the crowd and you can watch the body language. What it is Dutch is turning face, basically. So, Master of Payne's going to turn on and attack Dutch. And then Gossett and Master of Payne are going to do something that we have not yet covered here on Talking Taker. And they're going to tar and feather Dutch Mantel.
Oh, my God. Bring it back. Bring back the tar and feathering.
Is this the one where the ring was like made out of like a garbage bag? Like the canvas is like
It's the worst ring you've ever seen in your life.
It's like those contractor black garbage bags. I just cut them open and taped them down for like the canvas, and then they tar and feather.
Did we pack the canvas on the truck? Nope. God, all right, just head on down to Walmart and get a 10-pack of gallon trash. Tall trash bag.
Get the 50-gallon contractor bags. We're gonna cut them in half.
We'll just tape them up. That's literally what it looks like.
It's awful. It's awful. But we've seen Taker in lots of things. We've seen him sacrifice people. We've seen him stab him in the heart. With Midian and stuff like that.
Light him on fire.
Light him on fire. We've seen him lit on fire. We've seen all kinds of stuff. But here we've seen him tar and feather Dutch Mantel.
That was a new one.
Yeah.
We thought we'd seen it all.
Speaking of new, we're going to get another newcomer to this tape.
We had Ronald Napper. We had P.Y. Chuhai, Rodney Napper. This was my favorite enhancement talent of all time, Travis. Master Payne is going to take on the legendary, the one and only Freezer Thompson. What a name, bro.
Freezer Thompson.
How do you not put the world title on Freezer Thompson?
Like Fang McFrost, dude. Like one of Austin's names he was supposed to get.
Could have been.
Gave Stone Cold Freezer Thompson. I guarantee they recycled that. Freezer Thompson. I mean, that is just crazy. There is a limit to what you can do by becoming Freezer Thompson.
Yeah, the limit is becoming the world champion. With that kind of name. What are you talking about? Yeah. Put the strap on that kid. Well, unfortunately, it's not looking good for old Freezer. Master Payne dominates him. Hits a suplex, which is I think the first time we've seen him do that on this tape, which is nice. You see him building up his moveset here. And we get a little inset promo from Master and Payne and Ronnie Gossett for upcoming no DQ match with Dutch Mantel, as Gossett's talking about the 4 years that Master Payne spent in federal prison. So now we've gone to 5 years from 4 years. Can't keep our story straight here.
No. And he also said a no DQ match is this man's type of match.
Oh, yeah.
And then Master Payne's going to cut a promo, and he says that Dutch is stupider than what I gave you credit for. They don't send you to prison for being a Boy Scout. Mm-mm. You won't come out walking. I don't even know what's happening. So then we go back to the match, and then Gossett's going to punch Freezer Thompson in the head. That's not even a real sentence, I should say. Ronnie P. Gossett punches Freezer Thompson. I need some Memphis trading cards, man.
It was like in a movie where they make fun of 80s wrestling. That's the kind of name they would come up with.
What's the Southpaw? Southpaw. Yeah. It spelled like Southpaw. Yeah. Well, then,
Luke Gallows would play P.Y. Chuhai.
Oh, yeah. He probably is going to be P.Y. Chuhai. Master Payne hits the Judas effect elbow on Freezer Thompson. And goes, but then the ref goes to cover the count, but you can't possibly see the shoulders. He's on the opposite side of the shoulder. No. He just counts 1, 2, 3.
Doesn't matter. No.
Doesn't even try to get a good view.
He's putting Freezer Thompson out of his misery. It's okay.
So Master Payne went surprised he beat Freezer Thompson.
And then old Dirty Dutch is going to run in. He's got his bullwhip and scares off Master Payne here. And wow, what a journey, man.
Well, let's take it back, though.
Yeah, this is a weird moment here as the tape begins to transition. We actually go backwards in time because Master Payne is back with Dutch Mantel in this next match that we see here. Back to the Future.
And he's taking on Rodney Napper.
Rodney Napper, once again.
The two Rodney Napper matches.
Number one rival of the early days of Mark Calloway, old Rodney Napper.
Oh. So yeah, it goes back to it just wipes the slate clean of everything we just went through.
But there's a reason.
But yeah.
We're gonna
So
the reason why we see that on this tape.
yeah, he hits body slams, a vertical suplex, a boss man slam, which he might have learned in the Atlanta State Penitentiary. We're in Cobb County from the big
Cobb
boss
County,
man.
Georgia. That's right. He's
Yeah.
getting him tips.
It's a leg drop, and
That's
then
probably
that's
where he
gonna
met
finish
Nails
off.
too.
Could be. He's going to finish off with Rodney Napper, probably in under a minute again.
Yeah.
And then Dutch is on the stick, and he says that Lawler is scared of the Master of Pain after that one time they interacted. And then we cut to some
He
footage
calls
of
him
Lawler.
Casper the Ghost.
Yeah, Casper the Ghost. And
So stupid.
we see some footage where Lawler actually pinned Master of Pain with a chain, and he just beating his head repeatedly with punches, which, again, we didn't see any of this earlier, so we didn't know this was happening. But then
Right.
Dutch Mantell comes in the ring, and the DQ rings, and I guess it's a DQ again. I don't know. And then it's a DQ because Dutch came in, but it's not a DQ because Lawler was using a chain to beat his opponent with. So I don't know. But
It doesn't make any sense.
yeah, Master Payne is actually bleeding. He bladed here, and let me tell you who comes out
Oh,
here
please do.
to fight with him. You know, the great Lancaster. His name is Lancaster.
It's like Batista.
John.
Just need one name.
It's like, my name's Dave Lancaster, and Vince's like, nah, it's Lancaster.
Lancaster, the animal.
So yeah, we got Lancaster, John Paul, Action Jackson,
Oh, come on.
Tracy Smothers, and then the Wrestling Machine 1 and Wrestling Machine 2.
Oh, if you got one, you got to have two.
Yeah. So I know Tracy Smothers.
You don't know Lancaster?
I'm not sure how much further outside of Memphis his wrestling career went. So,
Well,
man,
we cut back to Dutch. He's going to
Yeah.
call out Jerry Lawler. And he wants Jerry Lawler to bring out his big mystery man to face the Master of Pain. And Jerry Lawler answers, but I don't know if he's late coming to the studio, but he comes strutting out dressed like he just walked straight out of Sunday school, man, or off the golf course, dude. He's just polo shirt tucked into his white pants, man. He doesn't look ready to fight. I don't know what he was doing on this day.
came out of Sunday school. I doubt he was in Sunday school.
Y'all, you don't think so?
No. Unless he was looking for somebody.
Oh. Well, Lawler, he talks all this trash, says Dutch wasn't man enough to take his title. He had to send the big goon, Master of Pain, and Lawler says two can play that game. And he says, I've even got some music. We don't hear whatever the actual music was that Lawler played here. I'm sure it was some actual rock song, but we get this dubbed
Call the
over music.
personality.
That'd be cool from the future. But who comes out as Jerry Lawler's mystery man?
Oh, my favorite Mad Max 2 character, Lord Humongous, comes out in a hockey mask, some barbarian gear, which is funny because on Monday Night Raw, as we record this, Karrion Kross wore this almost exact same outfit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Watch out, Kross. But it is, dude, it is strange. Like, I always knew Lord Humongous was his name, but it is an exact copy of Lord Humongous from Mad Max 2. It is not even trying to veer off. It's not like Lawler had the idea of Kamala from watching a documentary about cannibals in Africa. No, he just watched Mad Max 2 and then went and ripped the same outfit. Like, he called him the same name. Like, his name's still Lord Humongous.
Well, hang on a second to something we're going to get to in just a few minutes. We just talk about blatant ripoffs. But it's not going to be the last one that we see here.
Yeah.
But it's Psycho Sid,
Yeah.
Sid Vicious, Sid Udy, Sid Justice, whatever you want to call him. He's actually stands a little bit taller than the Master of Pain as he gets in his face and scares him and Dutch Mantell off. And we don't see any actual match or any physical contact between these guys, but we know, of course, at WrestleMania 13 in the main event, these two guys are going to face off once against each other in a historic match in the career of The Undertaker. So it's pretty cool to see them 8 years before that in their early days, both youngsters, both rookies in the business, getting to have this face-off here. Pretty dang cool.
Yeah, and a really funny thing is that, he comes out in this barbarian gear, this, Jason Voorhees mask, and it's like he's supposed to be this, like, stoic barbarian, but he's got all the charisma of Psycho Sid. Like, he is Psycho Sid. He's obviously cast in the wrong gimmick. Like, he should just take it all off and be Psycho Sid, which he does. But you don't. It doesn't. It's a mismatch. Like, it doesn't. His charisma doesn't go with his appearance. So, but again, Sid, man, I love Sid.
We love Sid on this show, and
call him Lord Humongous. Call him Psycho Sid. Sid Beauty. Just don't call him on Softball Saturday.
Well, this is Talking Taker, and we're here to talk about Mark Calloway. We're here to talk about the Master of Pain, but there is about 15 minutes left on this video with a couple of Lord Humongous matches. I did want to touch on them real quick since we are covering this here, but that is the end of Master of Pain on this video. But just a couple quick notes about the Lord Humongous footage on here. You talk about him being a ripoff, Travis. The first footage that we get of him on here is he's going to answer the challenge of someone named Detroit Demolition, who is literally dressed as like the fourth member of Demolition. And he's just called Detroit Demolition.
So we got Axe.
We got Smash. Crush.
And Detroit.
And Detroit. Just no shame. Just a complete Demolition ripoff. Face paint, the S&M gear, all of it, man.
Yeah.
And this segment, it's delightful.
Smash, Crush, and Detroit. My 4 children.
Detroit is doing like a karate demonstration here in the studio. Yeah. He's challenging anybody to break these boards like he does. And of course, he's managed by none other than Ronnie P. Gossett. And Lord Humongous comes out to answer the challenge of Detroit Demolition to break these boards. Ronnie P. Gossett says, "Wait a second, this guy's on every kind of steroid that's been made." You don't say that.
You can't say that. Oh,
it's true, but you don't say that.
Oh, man. So good.
And they go through this thing. Of course, Lord Humongous, he upsets Detroit Demolition. He breaks the boards. He bends a steel rod. Detroit Demolition's like Kenny Powers out here. Is like, oh, okay, all right. You ever seen somebody get run over by a car? You ever seen somebody jump from 6 feet into the air on somebody's gut? And then he hops in the ring and asks for somebody in the crowd to come in and jump on his stomach in this display of strength. And some random crackhead from the crowd runs into the ring and jumps on his stomach.
The guy literally jumps off the top rope onto Detroit's stomach. Okay, tough guy. Yep. How many guys can you have jump on your stomach? Like, when did that become a thing to, like, measure your manhood?
Well, Gossett challenges the steroid king, Lord Humongous, to do just that. But it's all a ruse. Detroit Demolition hits Lord Humongous with a brick and knocks him out cold and leaves him laying.
Who better than Canyon? Detroit Demo, man. He used the brick before Canyon did. Oh.
Then we get a big squash match with Lord Humongous against 3 jabronis, 3-on-1. And, dude, tell you what.
Sid's just ripping these dudes a new one.
God.
Just hammering folks. Just laying them out.
Sid's in the Hall of Fame of squash matches, along with the Steiner brothers, man.
Yes.
Nobody could kill jobbers like those guys could.
Yeah, it is so fun to watch, man.
It is.
Even as green as he is, just has no regard for their livelihood. He doesn't care.
Well, the next guy he faces, Sid Vicious, he's got Downtown Bruno with
Yes,
him,
sir.
who we're of course we covered on the show quite a bit as Harvey Whippleman, one of the Undertaker's early rivals in the WWF.
Yeah.
He faces a gentleman named Robert Long, who I'm not sure, Travis, if this guy was a legitimately professionally trained wrestler. And I say that in all seriousness. Like, this guy, I think, was
Garbage
pulled
man.
out of the crowd because he didn't know how to run the ropes.
No,
he
he didn't.
stumbles.
It was sad.
He doesn't know how to take a bump. And I think his pants even ripped halfway through the match, and he had to hold his pants together as
up.
Sid murdered him.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. I feel so bad for this dude because it's just like, whew, he has no idea what he's doing.
He had no
He
idea.
must be somebody's uncle or something.
He's terrified here.
Yeah, he is. It is terrible. But then, Sid pins him with one foot on him. It's just awesome.
He
He hits
Go
a
ahead.
leg drop off the middle rope, I think, which is scary when Sid goes to the middle rope.
That's right.
It's going to become the death of his career.
the death of his career, but here in the early moments, man, he looks like a monster.
13 years earlier. Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
does.
man. We get a reminder, folks, that old Covington Pike Toyota is #1 in the USA.
Yeah,
And you can't do better than that.
Mm-mm.
That's it, man. Of course, that leads us to the finale of this, and what a finale! It's going to be Sid Vicious against the unfortunately named Ken Raper. I'll tell you what, I'd rather be Rodney Napper than Ken Raper.
And his name wasn't just Ken Raper. It was Tommy King Raper.
I think at that point I'd just go by Tommy King. I think I'd drop Ken Raper.
It's like, don't go by PY2, I go by Bill Hasselbeck or whatever it was. Yeah, just drop the Ken and the Raper.
Yikes.
Go by Tommy King. What is Ken Tommy King Raper mean? Oh, never mind. It's just kind of
Well, as if that wasn't
someone
worse
checking
enough.
Tommy King. 'Cause he might have some of Ken's DNA. Oh wait,
As
it
if that
beats
isn't-
that way sometimes.
As Downtown Bruno would say, it does bees that way sometimes. As if that isn't bad enough, Sid is dominating this match. Sid Vicious, as he's known at this point.
Yeah.
And
Changed
old
his
Robert
name.
Fuller, a.k.a. Colonel Robert Parker in WCW. He's on commentary. And I quote, he says, "Well, Sid Vicious, that's a rock and roll singer, isn't he? He killed himself, didn't he?" Good God.
These guys have no filter. It's completely unleaded. Just high octane.
He's like impressed by it. He's like, "Oh, that's cool. What a great name."
Now he's dead. This is yeah. Oh man.
And then, I mean, that's it. Yeah, that's all it is. That Sid and Robert Fuller, Jimmy Golden, the future Bunkhouse Buck, Downtown Bruno, they all cut a deal and become a heel faction at the end of this and fades to black. And my God, man.
I ain't like nobody. I'm a little sick. I'm a little crazy. Yeah, Sid's just going nuts, man, like only he can. It's great.
It's great, dude. Again, you talk about seeing the potential from day one with The Undertaker and then even with Sid Vicious here.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just big, strong guys. They're not just big muscle bodies. They are guys that had the charisma, that had the intensity, that had the it factor. You couldn't just put anybody in their shoes. There's a reason why those guys are legends.
Yep. And I can't thank you enough for stumbling upon this, bringing P.Y. Chuhai into my life, bringing
Freezer Thompson.
Ronnie P. Gossett, Rodney Napper, Freezer Thompson, Rodney Napper again,
Lancaster.
John Paul. Oh, I made that up. It's just such good stuff.
It's so entertainingly bad, man.
Detroit Demolition. It really is like watching Southpaw Championship Wrestling.
It is. This is it, man. This is what inspired it. This is the real version of it. If you're into watching like midnight movies and like bad 80s horror movies and anything like that, I mean, folks, this is right up your alley. Sometimes it's fantastic to see, you know, the Young Bucks against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and seeing great flips and you know, crazy moves, and Kenny Omega and Seth Rollins and Edge and all this great storytelling. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes there's nothing better than that, but sometimes what you need is an hour of just semi-racist, semi-ridiculous, semi-stupid Memphis wrestling. Sometimes that's the best that wrestling can be.
It be that way sometimes.
Amen, brother. I'm so glad we watched this. Maybe we can find some more of it one day.
Oh, man. Yeah. We might have a new podcast called Before They Were Monsters. In all seriousness, folks, please go watch this. Let us know what you think. Tweet us, Instagram us something. We would love to hear your reactions from watching this. Maybe share them on next month's episode. So that would be great.
Yep. We hope we unearthed a real special treat for all you Undertaker fans. I think if you've listened along with this show, if you've been a fan with us and our sense of humor, I think you will enjoy this. And again, it's an hour. You know, you can find the time for it. It's shorter, way shorter than Raw or AEW or anything that you're watching. Just throw it on sometime, and I guarantee you'll sit there, you'll drop whatever you're doing, and you'll sit there enjoying the entire thing. And the app's great; it's totally free. There's a ton of other Memphis stuff on there if you enjoy this. So that's that Wrestling TV app, and you'll just search the word "dead" on the free section of the show, and this will easily pop up there. But yeah, of course, hit us up on social media. You know where to find us at Talking Taker, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with all of your comments, all of your thoughts on there. We would love to hear it. And we'd love to hear your suggestions. Like we've been doing here, we've been coming back for these monthly episodes around the first of every month here. And we're going to continue doing that for the foreseeable future as long as we can come up with some stuff to talk about. And we've already got one picked out for next month. Yeah. It's going to be the month of October. And it's going to be not a special anniversary, but it's just going to be, you know, the 24th anniversary of the #1 Undertaker match of all time, as we decided on our final episode, as we voted. We surprised each other, both picked the same thing. It's Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in the Bad Blood Hell in a Cell match, the first ever Hell in a Cell match. We're going to do that watch-along style. We're going to revisit it, see if it lives up to our memories as the #1 Undertaker match of all time. So that's going to be our October special bonus episode. We'll probably drop it on the actual anniversary of the match. So I know these last few episodes have come out on the 1st of every month. We'll probably just time it on, I think it's the 4th or the 5th of the month of October. So
it's early on.
Yeah, just wait a few days. Make sure you subscribe to us on your podcast feed, following us on social media. You'll know when it comes out. But we'd love some more ideas. Hit us up. Tell us what we should do. Give us some topics to talk about on Talking Taker. We want to mix it up. We don't want them all to be watch-along style. We'd like to do some different stuff. Got a few ideas, but we'd love to hear what you guys want to hear, and we will try to do it for you. Want to make sure we shout out the Bottom Line cast. They joined us on last month's episode,
Yeah.
A special guest on there. And they are, man, it's crazy. They are closing on the end of Stone Cold Steve Austin's career. They are, by the time you're hearing this, they're going to be just about covering WrestleMania 19. So the final in-ring match of the Steve Austin's career. I know they're going to carry on and cover some of the other appearances of Stone Cold Steve Austin through the years, but it's wild to think that they are coming into the end. So we want to encourage you guys to check them out. I want to thank Mike Prue for just randomly. He just sent me, out of the kindness of his heart, the Boneyard match Undertaker Mattel action figure. He had
Awesome.
ordered one for himself, just ordered an extra one, and sent it my way. What an awesome gift. What an awesome guy Mike and JV both are. We appreciate that. To add to the Talking Taker collection. I want to shout out the Collecting Dead Man podcast. He's carrying on our legacy. He's bringing out episodes. Steven's bringing out episodes every week. Sometimes he's got our boy Randy Turco joining him for watch-alongs on his show. He's stealing our gimmick, man. But we approve of it. We thank you for what he's doing. And we're going to try to have him on the show here in one of the upcoming months as well and have him join us and talk about his Unreal Undertaker collection. Speaking of Undertaker collections, we got our merch available on tpublic.com. Got a new merch shirt available. Let's see if we can get it on there. I think my head's disappearing. The Grateful Dead Man shirt. I went to my first Dead and Company concert just a few weeks ago. Had an incredible time and thought, well, man, I got the Grateful Dead. I got the Dead Man. Why not mash them up here?
Why did we not think of that 100 episodes
How has
ago?
nobody thought of that? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I made my shirt. It's available on tpublic.com. I got a number of compliments on it at the concert. 5 or 6 people noticed it and thought it was cool, so appreciate all of that. And speaking of concerts, Travis, you got a huge one coming up here in the next week or so. So why don't you tell people about that?
Yeah, there's a pretty big festival. Literally over 100,000 people usually come to it in Bristol, Virginia, and Tennessee. It's called Rhythm and Roots Reunion, and I was asked to play not one of the top billings or anything, but just a local stage there, and really humbled by that. And so I'm going to play an hour-long acoustic set, though. So if you're in Bristol, Virginia, or Tennessee on September 10th, come by Friday night, 6 to 7 p.m., and I will croon to you. Maybe sing Take Her Easy if you're there. So, yeah. But just a cool opportunity. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't ask for it. It happened, and that's what it means even more. So, really special. Looking forward to it.
Be opening up for Tanya Tucker.
Open up for Tanya Tucker. Yeah. And it was a Blackberry Smoke. I think they're still going to be there. They haven't dropped out yet. Yeah. And then the one drive-by trucker left, so he's not coming. So, it's what it is. But, yeah. Who knows how many people will actually be playing there by the time it gets here.
Well, that's awesome, man. We're excited for you. We're proud of you. Of course, you can listen to all of Travis's music. It's available on all the streaming services. You can find it on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Music, all of that good stuff. We encourage you to check it out. You hear Take Her Easy on the show every week. If you enjoy that, we think you'll enjoy all of Travis's tunes. And you can buy a CD as well if you want to support him in that way. And, man, that's about all I've got. We just encourage you guys to listen and share. We appreciate all your support every single week, every single month, as you've been on with us for 4 years. We never expected it to go this long, and we didn't expect to continue on with it. But it's cool. We're here. We're going to keep it going for as long as we can. And we hope you enjoy these monthly episodes. And we hope to continue bringing them to you.
Yeah, my youngest son just turned 5 beginning of August. It's weird to think about. He had just turned 1 when we started, and now it's just
your daughter wasn't even born.
Crazy to think she wasn't even born yet. Yeah, and now she'll be 3 in November. So it's just crazy to think about how much has happened. So anyway, kind of fun. But yeah, thank you guys for all your support on the podcast, on the music, and give us some ideas and stuff. And please, you heard how hard we were laughing. I mean, I don't know. There's only been a handful of episodes I've laughed harder at.
This might be number one.
This might be it. I mean, I was crying. So, the last episode we laughed really hard.
Yeah.
But it's gone. But, just let us know what you think. And, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe out there in all seriousness. Please stay safe. And most importantly, take her easy.